Hello, my name is Jeff DeLoach. A few years ago, my wife and I experienced something we never imagined would happen to us. Our youngest child, 20 years old at the time, came down with a very rare condition and was hospitalized. His kidneys were being attacked, and he got some treatments that the doctors felt like was going to take care of everything. After 9 days in the local hometown hospital, we went home. And this disease sometimes goes after the lungs, but it had not. So we had been home approximately 10 days, and one night while watching some TV with our son, he coughed and said, "Whoa, I coughed up some blood." And the next thing we know, we called the doctor, and he said, "Get to the hospital." And the next thing we were being told, approximately 10 hours later, by several doctors, is that we're going to have to airlift him to a specialty hospital about 230 miles away in a major metro area, and because he will die if he stays here. This disease has gone after his lungs, and they gave him a 10% chance of living. And you know, my wife and I looked at each other and thought, and I actually said to her, this happens to other people, not to us. It's not something that we ever imagined being faced with. And so my wife, my son needed my wife. My wife was the nurturing of our partnership for my children. I was predominantly the provider, and so with that, they paralyzed our son, and in an effort to save his life, he was put on life support, and they had to get a specialty plane that could transport him with life support equipment on board. My wife, there was room for one adult with him on the plane. Obviously, that was my wife that did that. Me and his older brother took care of packing stuff for what we thought was going to be a several-day trip, and taking care of the home front, locking it down, eventually getting in the car and driving 240 miles away. Along the drive, I made a reservation at a hotel for 3 nights, thinking we might be there longer. I really didn't know what I was getting into, but I knew that his mother's like, "I'm beside my child until he is healed." And so I needed to figure out how to take care of the provisions that enabled her to do that predominantly. That was the role I assumed. And along the way there, a close friend that was more aware of my situation than I was and what I was up against than even I was, called and said, "Hey Jeff, I've talked with, he knew which hospital I was going to, and he said, I've talked to Ronald McDonald house. They're right there beside the hospital." I said, "Steve, I've already got a hotel reservation made, thank you, but I don't need that." He goes, "No, Jeff, you need Ronald McDonald house. You do not need to be in a hotel. You need to be in a Ronald McDonald house. That environment is what you need. It's an environment for the condition that you're faced with, and you need to be there. And Jeff, 3 days, you're going to be there a lot longer than that." And he goes, "They've got one room. They've got your name. Go straight there. He's going to hold it until you get there." And I thought, "Ronald McDonald house, really? Okay." And so we went there. And what a blessing it was. We were there for 30 days. Our son was in intensive care, had doctors, all kinds of doctors. He was paralyzed for over 21 days, intentionally put in a coma, life support. The doctors, we got out of there day 30, and the doctors called him a miracle. He had a guardian angel, one doctor said. The Ronald McDonald House was so awesome, so convenient. Could go and come to the hospital. I could be at the hospital when my wife needed to take a shower, or occasionally would come to Ronald McDonald House to sleep. My son's siblings, his brother and sister, could stay at the Ronald McDonald House. It was just such a comfort. Individuals there praying for my son as we prayed for their children. The Ronald McDonald House experience was, possibly losing my child was one experience, but staying at the Ronald McDonald House was a different experience. I could leave and go back 200 miles away and check on stuff at the house, make sure it was okay. And in that day that I was gone, my wife could come and go. We had a refrigerator, we could prepare for food, but other volunteers came and prepared a meal every day. It was nourishing. And as a result of that, me and my family have become annual contributors to the Ronald McDonald House. I feel so blessed to have experienced that, and it's an honor to do this video as a testimony to how they helped me and my family get through one of the worst times in our life that we hope we never have to repeat. But I'll always be an advocate for the benefits of the Ronald McDonald House when a family is going through something like life-altering situation that we did with our child.